Okay, let's get cracking and talk about the post-general election Fife property market. QVT!
New day breaking, got that fire in my heart, feeling wild, feeling strong, ready to make my mark. Hands up high now, we're shouting to the sky, votes are in, I'm the one, can't deny, can't deny. Elected to shine, yeah, gonna take the crown from the streets to the stars, never coming down.
Okay, despite anticipations and speculations around the UK general election, and the impact on the UK and Fife property market has been pretty negligible, I would say, so far. I mean, mega trends and market trends, buyer interest, and political values remain steady throughout, showing no real significant fluctuations and attributable to the political climate as it stands right now. This stability really suggests that factors such as economic fundamentals, interest rates, and housing supply continue to play a more crucial role in shaping the property market's dynamics than the actual election results it will be coming up in the next couple of days. So, what is going to happen overall in the Fife property market once the election's over? Well, homeowners and buyers alike have maintained their focus on the core elements, demonstrating resilience and continuity in property related decisions, such as the commentators predict Labour superior supermajority. Could this see another Boris bounce in the post election months, like we saw in early 2020? I mean, if we do, what could it be called? The Starmer surge? Yet before we pop that champagne cork overall, or commiserate with the same stuff, it doesn't really matter. Well, why? Irrespective of who actually wins the election, there really are bigger fish to fry. Homeowners looking to sell, for example, their properties will continue to have increased competition, a surge or no surge, as more homes will be listed for sale in the next coming months. You think there's a lot of homes come on to sale now? There'll be a lot more homes come on to sale post-election. It's traditional. It happens every single time there's an election. There's a slowdown in the number of homes coming on, and then a lot more homes come on just as people have certainty about who's actually won. There's some rhetoric about it's going to influence property prices. No, it doesn't. So the rise in mortgage rates has significantly impacted this. So homeowners looking to sell their properties will continue increased competition, or surge or no surge, as more homes will be listed for sale in the coming months. And the rise in mortgage rates has significantly impacted potential buyers' incomes, reducing affordability. I mean, since 2021, mortgage affordability has actually gone up 60% or down 60%. It's cost 60% more every single month to maintain the same mortgage as it did in 2021. And that can't be ignored. And demand as well has been petered off as a result. And combining that with the fact that house prices have gone up significantly in the last 2 or 3 years in comparison to any other last of the 10 years, it does have a significant impact on the price of the local property market overall. I mean, this shift has led to price corrections in previously buoyant regions, especially in the south of England and even in the south of Fife as well. Local factors such as reputable schools, amenities, and public services remain crucial for prospective buyers. But the one key thing, though, is avoiding the overpricing trap. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, some estate agents may advise homeowners to list their properties at inflated prices, only to suggest dropping them a few months later. Large estate agencies can't afford to keep many homes listed as unsold, whereas smaller agencies actually rely on consistent sales and tend to propose more realistic pricing. Now, I've witnessed a number of Fife homeowners being advised to place their properties on the market at elevated prices despite the reservations. Over time, with fewer viewings and no genuine offers, they reduced the asking price. The initial overpricing results in prolonged waiting periods, missing opportunities of purchases over the desired homes which other people have gone for as a result of that. Homeowners may think they are immune to such tactics, but an allure of higher valuation can definitely be tempting for the prospective seller. I mean, it's natural, really, to want your Fife home to price the price to be ambitiously high, or ambitious target overall. But while dipping your toes and testing the waters with a slightly higher price tag is actually perfectly understandable, a practice which is occasionally employed at our estate agency after discussions with the homeowner. For example, what do you think a pre-portal is for? That's the whole point. It's just a indication initially to see if there are people out there willing to pay just that wee bit extra to get this property before it actually hits a website. So refusing, though, to adjust the asking price after a few weeks of minimal interest can actually be costly, and an overpricing home can stagnate, leading to potential buyers to suspect something is actually wrong with it. The longer it remains unsold, the more stigmatized a home becomes. That's how most agents and that's how most buyers and even sellers will see it as well. However, if you have a really good estate agent which doesn't buy into that rhetoric, it can often be to your advantage. You have to remember there's 20 people every single week in the Fife property market and make it every single day, actually, sorry, and make a decision to buy or sell a property. 20 people every day. So just because you go 2 or 3 months without a prospective buyer for your property, if it did take that long, it doesn't mean to say, because over that 2 or 3 months it's passed, there's 20 people every single day that's coming to buy a property into the Fife property market overall. And there will continue to be 20 people on average every single day after that day as well. So it is a renewal of properties buyers that come into the market overall. When you think about, there's 1,000 properties on the market for sale in Fife right now. And if you have 20 every single day, and effectively that's 140 a week, which is effectively 606 every single month. You've literally got just about 2 months worth of stock. So if you had 2 months of your house in the market, effectively you would have a renewal of a whole set of new buyers by the 2 months is over. Hopefully that makes sense. So a lack of early interest and viewings should be a clear signal to reconsider your asking price. Being responsive and proactive is crucial if there are no serious inquiries or offers within the first few weeks. I would probably say first month or so now, because it takes just that wee bit longer to sell a property. However, we just sold the Fifes in St Monans on a pre-portal for an astronomical offer the seller could not refuse at that point in time. It even surprised me. But by doing so, Fife homeowners can avoid the traps of stale listings and increase the chances of a successful sale and actually a move overall. We have another person that's just changed today from a very prominent St Andrews agent. It's been on for a long time, and they've changed us today because they've got a commitment to buy another house within 6 weeks, and they genuinely believe we are the people to do that for them. I think I probably believe that as well, actually. So how does this look for the current UK and Fife property market landscape then, when we go into post-election analysis? Well, if one compares the number of homes in UK sold to date in 2024, in other words, year to date, it's 460,000 properties. Now, that's 11.3% higher than the year-to-date in net sales in 2023, yet it's 23% lower than the year-to-date figures in 2021. So 2021, there was 23% more properties actually selling than there was in 2024 year to date, but there was still 11% more than there was in 2023. Hopefully that makes sense for you. I will hop up with a graph in a minute. I'll just see if I can get that for you, actually. So, however, when we look at the number of UK homes for sale today, there are 694,000 homes for sale compared to 481,000 homes for sale in May 2021. Now, that means 44.3% in 2021 is lower. So there's a lot more stock on for sale. So we can take a figure 694 minus 594. 694 minus 481. Here we go. 481 minus 694. You have got 213,000 more properties for sale right now in the UK than there was in 2021. Thus, the number of UK homes, net homes sales, is lower, yet the number of homes for sale is much higher. Can you see how that gap widens now? There's far more homes for sale than there was before, but there's far less. So the gap gets wider in between the number of people buying and the number of people selling as a result of that. It's difficult to quantify, but let me just show you an analytic here that we've got for our property. Let me just drill down. I've got that graph here, and I'll bring that up on the screen for you to see. So here we are right here. So you can see Fife homes for sale from 2019 to 2024. That's basically the KY1 to KY16 postcode areas right across Fife. So 2019, Fife homes for sale. In 2019, we were sitting around about 1,100 homes for sale. You can see when it went into the pandemic, it dropped like a stone to around about 800, and then it was around about 600. And then we came out and we had the lift. When 2020 came along and we were locked down, it all went back up again. But then the boom times came along and the number of homes for sale dropped like a stone to about 500 in the month. Now it's double that. You can see up here on the right hand side. I'm circling around with the arrow right here. So you can see it's double that now. But the key here as well, within that same period of time, mortgage rates have gone up and also house prices have gone up, which have contributed vastly to the reduction in the number of actual people willing to buy and able to buy as well. So roll the clock back to 2019, there were 1,151 properties for sale in Fife. On year, so okay, 1 year on the pandemic, when the pandemic had the number of properties reduced by 40%. And then to 698, as I'd said before. And then moving on to May 2021, the number of Fife homes for sale was 637, which was 44% lower than 2019, and the number of Fife homes for sale. However, today the figure stands at 1,059, a substantial increase of 66% from the May 2021 numbers. Now, you've got to remember, though, that only 51.9% of properties that have left UK estate agents' books since the 1st of January 2024 have sold and completed. The remaining 48.1% came off the market and sold. Now, you can see that by having an almost 50-50 chance of actually moving home, if you put your house on the market, the importance of correctly pricing your home and having a great agent to market is so essential, surge or no surge. So this is when it comes home to determining the right price. So Fife homeowners can actually arm themselves with valuable information about the local property market. Online platforms provide data on sold property prices in specific areas, offering benchmarks, in other words, pound per square foot figures, which are vital to compare yourself against your competition. Because remember, you are comparing yourself against your competition. People have the choice to buy a different type of property at the same price point as yours in another area if they want to. So this rhetoric about, oh, your house will sell no bother and it'll go quick because next door went quick, is long gone. now. You can't take that for granted anymore. You need to be more vigilant about where the property market is overall and where buyers are overall in terms of pricing. Additionally, here we are though, the time property spend on the market can provide insights into how efficient an estate agent is, with portals like Rightmove and Zoopla offering valuable data plus our own Fife property blog. We talk about this every single time. So when selling, obtain valuations and market appraisals from multiple agents if you want. I know really there's only one that can do the job as far as I'm concerned. I wonder who that is. Anyway, and critically analysing them is essential. Now, I was speaking to someone this morning actually, and the first thing they were thinking about before I walked in the door was, who is the cheapest fee? Now, on the face of it, that sounds like a great strategy for most people about who's going to be the cheapest to sell my property. Because after all, my property is going to sell anyway. Yeah, that's maybe the case. But what price is your property going to sell for? Are you aware that another estate agent could get a completely different price for your property than another agent? They don't all get the same prices because a lot of it comes down to strong negotiation. A lot of it comes down to digital marketing strategy. What audience have they got? Who are they going to get in front of? If everybody was the same and it was the cheapest fee or it was the cheapest of anything, why are we not all driving in the same cars? Why are we not all driving in the cheapest car? Because there's different options available, isn't there? And it's just like estate agents as well. Some estate agents use video walkthroughs. Some estate agents use drone footage. Some estate agents use proper digital marketing strategies called retargeting. In other words, when you're on here, you don't have a choice. They'll get right in front of you through a retargeting strategy on your social media channels. And also when you're reading the news on here as well, it's more likely their video walkthrough or their advert will pop up on your newsfeed at the same time. Has anybody ever noticed recently on Reels where the reel is running and you always see an advert at the bottom here? Well, that's what we use as well. That's how we're retargeting people. We're getting in front of the people based on their data and based on their habits, and actually using the data that Meta, that Google are actually collating and collecting, and the suggestions that they're saying about, for example, if someone goes on any estate agent's website, or they go on Rightmove, they go on Zoopla, they go on S1 Homes, or they go on any website, and they type in straight away that they're looking for a property in St Andrews, or they're looking at a property in Anstruther, they're looking for a property in Leavenmouth. That data is held and it's collated and collected. And then when we use it for our video content and we put an ad campaign behind it, it then takes that data, it matches it with our video, and it shows it right in front of their newsfeed on their mobile phone. This is television right here. Your television has been relegated to the radio in the background. How many people spend all their time on their mobile phone while the television runs in the background? And then they go, oh, what happened? That's what's happened to television. It's been relegated to radio. This is the new television format. And if you can get an agent with a digital marketing strategy that can get on this and get in front of the right audiences, you've got a captive audience. They cannot go anywhere because they're seeing your advert regardless, based on their data, based on their habits, based on things that they're saying privately on WhatsApp, on Messenger, on anything, even on their phone, even on talking on Alexa or anything like that. That's what you buy into when you buy into the right agent. So it's essential that you get that sort of technology available on your site to reach the audience that basically no other estate agent can reach because they don't understand how that platform works. And that is where everything is. That is where the market is. That is where your estate agency market is. Yeah, you can use Rightmove and you can still use Zoopla and you can still use other websites and other property portals because after all, how many people just shop at one shop anymore? I mean, some people go to Morrison's, they go to Aldi's, they go to Lidl's, they go to Asda's, they go to Sainsbury's, they go to Marks and Spencer's, they go to Tesco's. They all sell the same baked bean tin, don't they? They all sell Heinz, more than likely, but they're all different prices, aren't they? And people will pay different prices for the different platforms. And that's exactly the same as the estate agents. It's the same product, it's the same house, but you'd be surprised that an estate agent could get a far bigger property price than another estate agent can for exactly the same property. We've got tons of examples like that. And that's why it's important to pick up an agent with a track record in what they do. The question you should ask them every single time, and hopefully the estate agents are listening as well to this, is how much more than the home report value do you achieve on average, percentage-wise and monetary terms-wise, than the home report itself in 2023? Now, if an agent hasn't got that off the top of their head, they're clearly not doing their analytics. They're obviously just hoping for the best that your house will sell, no matter what the price. And then it comes down to an agent with a proper digital marketing strategy and then proper negotiation skills. So what do I mean by proper negotiation skills? Well, a classic example, whoever you bought your house off right now, here's a good one. Would you have paid a wee bit more money for it? Maybe another £500, maybe another £1,000, if they'd asked. Would you have paid that? And if the answer to that is yes, clearly that agent isn't a good negotiator. If that's the case, you were obviously a better negotiator than them. Should that be the agent you're speaking to then? Should that be the agent you should even call out if that's the case? These are the key criteria that you should be assessing an estate agent. Assessing an estate agent on based on the number of properties for sale in the area, or they've sold that many properties in the area, or they've sold the most in that area, isn't the right statistic to actually analyse, or isn't the right key performance indicator. It's how much do you achieve over the home report value for this type of property, and then benchmark people on that. Because after all, you want a better end result. You could both get results for the end result. One could charge a lot more than the other, but the other one that charges a lot more could end up with more money in your pocket because they could get more for the property with the strategies that they're using to get it. So hopefully that's gone across and you've got that message across in the right way. I mean, if you want a bit more clarification, please feel free to message us direct, and then we'll talk to you about it individually. So these are the things to get when you get these multiple valuations for a property. But we'll all essentially say the same thing. But it's about how you do that and how the strategy, how you get that added value into it. So you've got to rethink the selling strategy. The Fife property market really does tend to shift collectively, like boats on the same tide. The market remains manageable as long as homeowners aren't facing financial losses and can manage an upgrade. Many assume continuous gains when selling their home, but the real profit only materializes when one parts with your final property. In other words, when you actually part with the property, not when you trade it for another one. The real profit is only when you finally part with it. The profit might not be realized directly, but it could be used later for care expenses or a legacy for your children or even your grandchildren. You could decide to move into rent accommodation, like I'll end up doing, and then release all your money in your house to do what you want to do with it before it's too late and before the state gets it. Okay, so once your property is put on the market, it is crucial to focus on its online and offline marketing journey. The initial 4 weeks to a month provide insights into whether the property is priced correctly, gauged by the number of web views or on portals, actual viewings, or offers received. One strategy employed by some of the savvy Fife homeowner sellers is listing the property at a slightly lower price point to spark more interest to drive up offers. Now, this is a real good strategy that we've used often in the past, and it's called realignment. You realign a price, you bring it down, introduce it to a new audience, a new price band, introduce it to a new audience on the portals, and then you push that audience back up into the next price band above. That is entirely possible. It's more than likely as a benchmark that most people have 10% extra than what they're budgeting for in the first place when they go to buy a property. It's been a long statistic. It's been going on for years and years. That's usually the benchmark that people have. So deciding to reduce the listing price involves more than attracting buyers, and actually potential timelines and goals play a significant role in this. For instance, is there a deadline when the property must be sold? I just talked about that just now up in P-In, where the person's got 6 weeks to get that done and get that over the line, and that's why they've switched to us from another agent. It could waiting a couple of months make a difference. People have got a wee bit longer to wait. If you wait a couple of months, could it make a difference? Is this a short-term thing? Sometimes summer is the highest point where stock goes on the market and there's an oversupply of property for sale. If you've got the same amount of buyers, then they've got a lot of choice. Therefore, that's why prices stabilize out. Often, when it comes to winter, sometimes that's the best time to sell. Sorry, winter. Because most people are advised by estate agents not to put their house on until their garden's in full bloom or till the next year, because they really don't want to deal with it over the Christmas period, New Year period. But the buyers are still out there waiting to buy because time waits for no one. If you got a baby on the way, you ain't going to tell it to wait a while, are you? It's coming in 9 months whether you like it or not. So when you hit that Christmas period, it's circumstances that will drive the buyer forward to the fact that they need to find another house for their circumstances. And that's what drives the property market. So it's always moving, it's perpetual. The buyer's market is always perpetual, and it's driven by as time passes, people's circumstances change. It's traditional long gone that, when it comes to the new year, you tend to find a lot of people begin to go separate ways. Therefore, they look for houses. They look for rent and accommodation. And that's often a busy period. And it's the Boxing Day bounce. It happens every year. Every year. And we talk about it all the time. Some people listen and take advantage of that time. And some people, well, they just don't believe you. So, these considerations help in making thought out, informed decisions on asking price adjustments overall. Now, boutique agents, put my teeth back in, like our agency in Fife. I mean, there's no bones about this. We are not a volume agent. I have never wanted to be a volume agent. I don't want to sell thousands and thousands of properties or even hundreds and hundreds of properties. I'm literally at the point where we're happy just selling 200 to 250 properties a year, and we're happy at that. We can look after our customers from start to finish. We have the resources available to take time to qualify buyers, to take time to look after our sellers, and to make sure it all happens in between and catch up with people for that reason. It's not easy to get skilled negotiators and skilled estate agents in a market in Fife. You go into London, you could drop a pin and you'll probably find 2 or 3 within a 5-mile radius. But because we're more disseminated in Fife and we've got less people and they're further afield, it's difficult to get somebody of that skill level to be able to work in your local area because of transportation. We all know what it costs to come to work back and forward. So home working has become almost like one of the things that will end up being a norm overall to attract the right talent. And that's things that we've got to think about as estate agents over the years as we go. I even talked about unlimited holidays. Wow. So boutique agents like our agency in Fife can offer a more authentic experience and realistic valuations in a challenging market overall. So, like this morning, for example, we got that opportunity to switch in agents or going online. In a slow property market, patience can definitely wear thin. Now, we know that because the market is quite slow because of the huge oversupply, especially when it comes to St Andrews. St Andrews has a lot of new builds dumped onto the market. There's a huge amount of incentives from David Wilson Homes. We can see people, they're paying stamp duty for people at £600,000. They're not putting a lot of money out of their pocket, and it's easy low deposit access to get into these types of properties at these price points. Hence the reason why the new house builders have affected the St Andrews market for resale. The properties which are coming on, which have been lived in before, the new builds are affecting that right now. That'll be a temporary thing. So if you can play that waiting game, by all means, play that waiting game, because it will only be a temporary issue until they're all sold, and then it's done. You only need one person to buy a house, remember, but there's a lot of stock on the St Andrews market just now up for sale. So people have got a good choice right now in St Andrews. Equally, as you come back into East Neuk, it's a similar sort of thing, but for the right properties, they can go quite quickly. For example, the Fife and St Monans, which was a 3-bedroom detached bungalow. It went from social media. It went basically from social media before it even got to a website. So if your patience does wear thin and you're considering switching agents, speak to your agent first. Have an open conversation with them, and if you feel that is still the same way forward, you should evaluate your current agent's efforts and their communication frequency. Multi-agents agreements are an option, but that's primarily for England. Scotland tends to deal with sole seller agreements, though their popularity has declined in recent years due to the high associated fees. Because if you've got multiple agents selling your property and they're all getting a slice, then it doesn't make it worthwhile for one person to sell it and then everybody else to get a slice of that as well. So that's why sole seller agreements are so popular in the Scottish area. Online agencies with their fixed fees as well and remote operations may seem attractive. However, their one-size-fits-all model can fail to capture the nuances of individual properties, making them less effective in slower markets. There might be something so unique about your property that it needs someone, like me, for example, to tell everyone all about it in a video. That's why it's essential. How easy is that to convey in photographs and descriptions? Let me just give you an example of that. Let me take your favourite television programme. Have a wee think about what that is right now. Dragon's Den. The Apprentice. Let's just take The Apprentice. Now, we all know The Apprentice television programme, Well and Sugar, attracts millions of viewers because they all watch it. But if I was to change that paradigm, in other words, how that was done in The Apprentice, and just give you photographs of the cast and give you the script to read, do you think the millions of people would still continue to do that with The Apprentice? In other words, they're no longer allowed to watch it. They have to read the script now and they have to look at the photographs. How many people do you actually think would actually continue to engage with The Apprentice, the television programme, or what would be effectively a book now called The Apprentice instead of the television programme? A lot less than the millions that watch it just now. Do you know that's how traditional estate agents is done right now? Has the penny dropped yet about video and walkthroughs and talk-ups? Photographs and descriptions, it's just like reading a script and looking at photographs of a cast, as opposed to watching the actual television show or the film. That's why it's important to have video walkthroughs and talk-ups, because you immediately attract a far wider and greater audience, which is more encapsulated with what people have to say overall. After all, you're watching this right now. If I just put this on a blog, would you have actually read it? I doubt it. That's how important video is in the estate agency. So renting is actually an alternative. Renting out unsold properties. So if your property is actually struggling a bit, we did it in the credit crunch. We actually took a lot of people's properties when we helped them refinance them. They pulled the money out to allow them to get a deposit to go and buy their next house, and they continued to rent the house they've got right now. And that was an easy way to do it for them. And it is gaining traction as rents continue to rise. I mean, this morning they were saying that rents are an average of £1,300 a month. Now, I don't believe that for 1 minute. That's probably the English market, but they failed to mention that was the English market, because according to Zoopla, the average rent per month is £797. And Zoopla's got a lot more data than what anybody else can get access to, because they're one of the biggest portals to actually list rental properties for rent themselves. So they've got the biggest amount of data, and I would more than likely believe them before I believe anybody else. But rents are beginning to rise still, and they will continue to rise over the years. It's just common practice that rents will always rise as inflation rises, as house prices rise as well, and that is just the cost of living. However, prospective landlords should really be cautious. Consider growing mortgage interests, tax restrictions, Section 24, if you own the property yourself. Section 24, if you're a higher rate payer and you're taking a mortgage out on it and you're getting mortgage interest deduction, you're only allowed a tax credit against your interest now at lower rate, which is 20%, rather than actually getting it fully tax deductible against your top line income. If you're a limited company, it's instantly tax deductible against the top line income. If you're a sole trader, in other words, you own it outright and you don't have it's not owned by a company, and you've got mortgage interest on it, if you're a high rate taxpayer, you will end up being penalised by a higher tax bill than you would through a limited company. But then you've got to think about as well, as then if you sell it to your limited company, you've got ADS, which is additional dwelling supplement, because the limited company is a legal entity in its own right, and that then therefore is classed as a legal person. Therefore, when you sell that to your limited company, or even gift it to your limited company, you'll be taxed in Scotland 6% extra. It's almost like a VAT charge, 6% over and above. Now, I'll be honest, if you go to Spain, it's 7% anyway, and it always has been 7% VAT on property in Spain to buy. So hence the reason why the property market in Spain is a lot slower, and people are a lot reluctant to sell, and they typically usually gift it to their family, and generations of people actually still continue to stay in the same property and hand it to each other over the years. That's what it's always been like. In Spain, it takes 2 years on average to sell a property. In Fife, it takes 2 months on average to sell a property. Thank goodness we're not in Spain. So, if this is a potential option, renting as an alternative to get you to your next property, then give us a call. Message us direct on this post as well. So, with all this said, and looking overall in the Fife property market and post general election, as I said before, I don't think it'll have a major impact. I mean, the current Fife property market is actually complex, but surge or no surge, it's all about being realistic with your asking price. The freeze on the Bank of England base rates offers a welcome pause. While it won't create a frenzy like the mid-2020 stamp duty holiday, any possible drop in the summer or early autumn will be welcome respite. There is a prediction that there will be a 1/4 point reduction in August. I think that is highly likely if nothing else changes and inflation stays the same, because we had expected it to happen anyway in June, because we still hit our inflation target at 2%. But they've decided to hold off a wee bit. But I think it'll happen. So, with the right strategies and awareness, Fife home sellers can effectively navigate these waters and ensure the property finds the right buyer at the right price. If you're a Fife property owner and you're looking to sell, then by all means, reach out to us and talk to us about it as well. Now, somebody's actually asked a question here. I'm thinking about buying out there in Fife. Would you recommend buying a property in Fife? What auction would you recommend buying a property in Fife? I'm thinking about buying out there. Okay, so if you're buying in Fife, you're probably better to look at. You can look at our website, fifeproperties.co.uk, but there's also Zoopla as well. It depends what your price point as well that you're looking for, and what your budget as well as you're looking for. And my best advice is probably just contact us. message us your contact details direct, and with your email and your contact number, and then we can get back in touch with you. We can qualify your criteria, and what I mean by that is, have you got a house to sell? Have you got a mortgage to arrange? Have you, what's your budget? You know, where's your price point about what you're looking for? What area you're looking for? How many bedrooms are you looking for? What's the deal breaker here? If you've got a property, do you have to have a garage? Do you have to have a drive? Maybe you need a home office. Maybe you need a garden. Maybe you need somewhere away from a main road because you've got pets or you've got cats or anything like that. And these are all the things that you need to then get out of a buyer like yourself in order for us to ascertain and match you with the right property overall. And then again, as I said before, it's all about the budget and stuff as well that comes with it. Yes, we do commercials as well. We're about to release one in Buckhaven, another one, which is a really good one. So we've got a couple of them overall. But again, there's a lot of commercial deals that I know about personally that haven't come to market yet. And so there is potential to actually do an off-market deal. There's a lot of properties come to market and not actually physically come to market. It could actually get an off-market deal as well. So that's why I'd recommend contacting us and speaking to us and us getting your criteria, because there could be a deal to be done. And that's it. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for everybody listening on the podcast later on. And until next time, guys, I'm Jim Parker for Fife Properties TV. Bye-bye for now.